Flour hides in nearly every Australian pantry. It looks harmless enough, but for seniors, that innocent bag could be concealing something dangerous. From E. coli outbreaks to undisclosed bleaching chemicals and heavy metal contamination, some flour brands are putting your health at serious risk. Coming in at number 9, we have White Wings All-Purpose Flour. White Wings has been a fixture in Australian kitchens for generations. Your grandmother probably used it. Your mother almost certainly did. The packaging promises reliable results for everything from lamingtons to meat pies. That familiar yellow bag feels like a friend you can trust. But here is the truth they do not want you to know. Flour contamination is not some distant American problem. The food standards. Australia-New Zealand Authority has documented multiple incidents of bacterial contamination in Australian flour products over the past 5 years. When you open a bag of flour, it should smell clean and faintly weedy. If you detect any mustiness or chemical sharpness, something has already gone wrong. White Wings uses conventional wheat sourcing, which means pesticide residue is a genuine concern. Glyphosate, the active ingredient in common herbicides, has been detected in flour samples across the industry. Independent testing by consumer advocacy groups found traces in over 60% of conventional flour products on Australian supermarket shelves. For seniors already managing kidney function or taking blood pressure medication, this chemical burden adds unnecessary stress to organs already working hard. The bleaching process used to achieve that pristine white color raises additional red flags. Chlorine dioxide and benzoyl peroxide are commonly used agents. These chemicals break down natural wheat compounds to create that pure appearance consumers associate with cleanliness. But they leave behind residues that some researchers believe irritate the digestive system and interfere with nutrient absorption. Consumer complaints have increased noticeably in recent years. Bakers report inconsistent texture, unusual clumping, and off flavors that suggest improper storage or processing shortcuts. When a brand that promises tradition and reliability delivers inconsistency, trust begins to crumble. The betrayal here is subtle but real. You pay for quality. You expect safety. You receive neither guarantee. At number 8, we have Woolworths Home Brand Flour. Woolworths Home Brand represents everything budget-conscious Australians love about supermarket shopping. When you are living on a pension, saving $2 on pantry staples matters enormously. Woolworths knows this. They market Home Brand as the smart choice for families watching their spending. But the real cost of cheap flour might be measured in hospital visits. Store-brand flour carries a fundamental problem that most consumers never consider. Woolworths does not operate flour mills. They contract with larger suppliers to produce products under their label. This means the same contamination risks, the same processing concerns, the same potential for bacterial problems, all packaged in a cheaper bag with different branding. What makes Home Brand particularly worrying is the lack of transparency. Major brands at least provide customer service lines and detailed ingredient sourcing information. Store brands often respond slowly to inquiries and provide minimal detail about where their wheat comes from and how it is processed. When contamination events occur in the supply chain, information reaches home brand customers even more slowly than those who buy premium products. Testing conducted by independent laboratories has revealed that some store-brand flour samples contain higher moisture content than ideal. Moisture creates conditions where bacteria and mold can flourish. If your flour develops a slightly sour smell or shows any discoloration, it may already be harboring invisible dangers. One Australian study found that nearly 12% of budget flour samples tested positive for some level of bacterial presence before the bags were even opened. That sealed package that looks perfectly safe on the supermarket shelf may already be compromised. For seniors who depend on Woolworths for affordable groceries, this creates an uncomfortable reality. The savings are genuine, but so are the risks. You cannot see bacteria with your eyes. You cannot smell heavy metals. The danger is invisible. Now at number 7, we have Coles brand flour. Coles occupies the same problematic space as its competitor. Store brand flour at attractive prices with hidden costs that never appear on your receipt. The pattern repeats itself across every major supermarket chain. Coles contracts with various suppliers, and those suppliers change based on cost negotiations and availability. The flour you purchased last month may come from an entirely different mill than the flour you buy today. This inconsistency makes tracking quality or safety over time essentially impossible. Coles flour has been connected to contamination concerns when issues arise at supplying mills. The same processing facilities that produce premium brands also handle store brand products. When E. coli or other contaminants are discovered in a major supply chain, budget products sourced from that chain are affected too. The rapid inventory turnover that supermarkets celebrate as freshness can also mean products spend less time being inspected or tested before reaching shelves. The commercial pressure to move flour quickly from supplier to store minimizes opportunities to catch problems before they reach your kitchen. What struck me during research was a consumer complaint describing flour that smelled like cardboard and left baked goods with an unpleasant aftertaste. When she contacted Kohl's, the response took weeks and offered no explanation for the quality failure. For seniors managing chronic health conditions, the question becomes uncomfortable. Is saving money worth the uncertainty? Is the budget price worth the lack of accountability when something goes wrong? Have you ever opened a bag of flour that smelled wrong or looked off? Tell us about it in the comments below. Moving to number 6, we have Defiance plain flour. Defiance has been milling flour in Australia since 1905. That heritage creates powerful trust. Over a century of history suggests reliability, quality, and commitment to Australian baking traditions. The name itself implies strength and resistance. But heritage does not guarantee safety in modern supply chains. Defiance sources wheat from conventional Australian farms, which means exposure to the same agricultural chemicals affecting the entire industry. Glyphosate-based herbicides are widely used as desiccants before harvest, drying wheat for easier processing, but potentially increasing residue levels in the final product. Independent testing has raised concerns about heavy metal accumulation in some flour products. Arsenic and cadmium occur naturally in Australian soils, and wheat absorbs these metals as it grows. The question becomes whether milling and processing removes these contaminants or concentrates them. For seniors, heavy metal exposure deserves serious attention. Arsenic has been linked to cardiovascular complications and increased cancer risk. Cadmium specifically targets kidney function, potentially worsening decline in people already managing age-related changes or medication-induced stress on these organs. The effects accumulate over decades of regular consumption. Consumer reports have noted increasing complaints about Defiance flour inconsistency. Protein content varies between batches, affecting how dough rises and how bread textures turn out. While not directly a health hazard, this inconsistency suggests quality control issues that could extend to safety concerns. The betrayal here is paying for heritage and receiving uncertainty. You trust the name, you believe the history, but the product may not deliver on either promise. Stick around, because we are about to reveal something about organic flour that will genuinely shock you. Arriving at number 5, we have Laucke Wallaby plain flour. Laucke presents itself as the baker's choice, professional quality for home kitchens. South Australian pride in every bag. The branding suggests expertise and craftsmanship that elevates ordinary baking to something special. But expertise in marketing does not equal expertise in contamination prevention. Laucke sources from Australian wheat growers, which provides some supply chain visibility. However, conventional farming practices mean the same pesticide exposure concerns apply. The wheat fields that produce Laucke flour receive the same chemical treatments as fields supplying budget brands. What distinguishes Laucke is their focus on protein content for bread making. Higher protein flour requires specific wheat varieties that may be grown under different conditions than all-purpose varieties. This creates additional supply chain complexity and additional opportunities for contamination or quality failures. Testing has revealed that some Laucke products contain moisture levels at the upper acceptable range. Moisture in flour creates conditions where mycotoxins can develop. Mycotoxins are produced by mold and can cause serious health effects, including liver damage and immune suppression. For seniors with compromised immune systems or those taking immunosuppressant medications, mycotoxin exposure is particularly dangerous. The symptoms can mimic other conditions, making diagnosis difficult. By the time the source is identified, damage may already be significant. Your doctor might be treating what appears to be a digestive complaint, while the true cause sits in your pantry. Consumer complaints describe packaging that arrives damaged, bags that feel damp, and flour with visible discoloration. Each of these issues increases contamination risk exponentially. When you see these warning signs, the invisible problems are almost certainly worse. If this helps you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It is free, and it means you will never miss these exposes. At number 4, we have Anchor Premium Baker's Flour. Anchor carries the weight of New Zealand dairy heritage, though their flour products are a separate operation. That brand recognition creates trust trust that may not be fully deserved when it comes to flour safety. Anchor flour is marketed towards serious home bakers who want professional results. The premium positioning suggests superior quality control and careful sourcing. The higher price point implies you are paying for something better than budget alternatives. The packaging shows artisan loaves and promises perfect crusts every time you bake. But premium pricing does not automatically deliver premium safety. Anchor has faced quality complaints similar to other brands in this countdown. Inconsistent protein levels affect baking results. Unusual odors suggest processing or storage problems. Packaging failures compromise product integrity before it reaches your kitchen. The company's response to customer complaints has been described as defensive rather than helpful. When consumers report problems, they expect acknowledgement and solutions. They often receive excuses and deflection instead. One Brisbane woman described calling their customer service line 3 times about flour that arrived with visible moisture damage. Each time she was told it was a storage issue at the retailer. No refund, no apology, no accountability whatsoever. Deserve confidence that their investment protects their health. Instead, Anchor delivers uncertainty at premium prices. The betrayal compounds the financial sacrifice. Heavy metal testing of premium flour brands has shown levels comparable to budget products. The arsenic does not care what you paid. The cadmium does not read the label. Contamination affects expensive flour just as readily as cheap flour. For seniors managing multiple health conditions, this reality demands attention. Your blood pressure medication is already stressing your kidneys. Your heart medication is already challenging your liver. Adding heavy metal burden from contaminated flour makes every system work harder. The cumulative effect can push a stable condition into crisis without warning. Comment. Bait question. Why do you think premium brands charge more but still source wheat from the same fields as budget options? Share your thoughts below. Number 3 brings us to Fourleaf milling organic flour. This one might genuinely surprise you. Fourleaf milling has built a devoted following among health-conscious Australians. Their organic certification promises freedom from synthetic pesticides. Their stone-ground processing suggests traditional craftsmanship handed down through generations. The packaging shows pastoral scenes and wholesome families gathered around kitchen tables. For seniors trying to clean up their diet, Fourleaf seems like the obvious safe choice. But organic certification does not mean contamination-free. Fourleaf flour has been included in product alerts when bacterial contamination affected organic supply chains. E. coli does not distinguish between organic and conventional wheat. The bacteria thrives in the same conditions regardless of how the grain was grown. The invisible organisms do not read labels or care about certifications. They simply multiply when conditions allow. In fact, some researchers argue that organic flour may carry higher bacterial risk in certain scenarios. Without synthetic treatments to control pests and pathogens, organic products rely entirely on proper handling and storage protocols. When those protocols fail, contamination can actually be more severe than in conventionally processed products. The absence of chemical protection means natural defenses must work perfectly every time. The stone-ground processing that Fourleaf celebrates as traditional and pure has its own complications. Stone grinding generates significant heat, which can degrade certain vitamins and create conditions for bacterial growth if temperature is not carefully controlled. The same old-fashioned methods that feel wholesome may actually introduce more risk than modern processing techniques designed specifically for food safety. Heavy metal testing of organic flour products has shown levels comparable to conventional alternatives. Organic farming does not address arsenic or cadmium already present in soil. If anything, organic fields that do not receive certain treatments may accumulate these metals at similar or higher rates. The premium you pay for organic does not buy protection from geological contaminants lurking beneath those picturesque fields. Consumer complaints describe rancid odors that hit you when the bag opens, clumping that suggests moisture exposure during storage, and products that arrive past their best-by dates. Each complaint represents a broken promise. Each failure represents a senior who trusted the organic label and received something potentially harmful instead. For seniors who invest extra money in organic products, hoping to protect their health, this represents perhaps the most painful betrayal. You pay more, you trust the certification, and you still may receive contaminated flour sitting in your pantry. The belief that organic automatically means safe is a dangerous misconception that puts vulnerable people at risk every single day. Coming in at number 2, we have Kialla Pure Foods Organic Flour. Kialla carries the torch for Australian organic milling. Their commitment to chemical-free processing appeals deeply to seniors concerned about pesticide exposure and artificial additives. The Queensland heritage suggests clean farming under blue skies and careful attention to quality at every step. Their marketing emphasizes purity, tradition, and family values passed down through generations. Everything about the brand feels trustworthy and authentic. But commitment to ideals does not always translate to commitment to safety. Kialla has faced quality complaints that mirror concerns across the organic flour industry. Rancidity, from oxidized wheat germ oils that have turned before reaching your kitchen. Pest contamination from grain moths attracted to untreated products stored in warehouses. Packaging failures that compromise integrity during shipping and storage across Australia's vast distances. Each problem represents a gap between promise and performance that seniors cannot afford. The whole grain products that Kialla promotes as nutritionally superior present their own challenges. Whole grain flour retains more of the wheat kernel, including oils that oxidize quickly once milled. This creates shorter shelf life and greater potential for harmful compound formation if storage conditions are not ideal throughout the supply chain. The nutritional benefits disappear when rancidity sets in, leaving only risks behind. Consumer reports describe Kialla flour arriving with evidence of insect activity, tiny holes in packaging that something chewed through, webbing that suggests moth larvae have been living and breeding inside, visible movement when the bag is opened and light hits the contents. These are not signs of a premium product deserving premium prices. These are signs of inadequate quality control and potential health hazards being shipped directly to your kitchen. Mycotoxin risk in whole grain organic products deserves particular attention from anyone concerned about their health. Mycotoxins produced by field molds can survive milling and end up concentrated in flour. For seniors with liver concerns or compromised immune function, even low-level mycotoxin exposure can trigger cascading health problems that doctors struggle to diagnose. The symptoms often appear unrelated to diet, making the connection difficult to identify, then even harder to treat effectively once damage accumulates. One Perth grandmother described discovering weevils in Kialla flour she had stored properly in an airtight container immediately after purchase. The infestation came from the bag itself, not from her pantry. Her complaint to the company resulted in a replacement bag, but no explanation for how contaminated product reached store shelves in the first place. No investigation into their supply chain. No assurance it would not happen again to her or anyone else. The premium price Kialla commands creates expectations the product does not consistently meet. You expect organic to mean pure. You expect premium to mean safe. You expect Australian to mean trustworthy. Instead, you receive uncertainty wrapped in reassuring marketing and pastoral imagery. The betrayal is complete. We are almost to the brands that are actually worth your trust. The solutions are coming right after number 1. And arriving at the top of our avoid list at number 1, we have Wholegrain Milling Company Organic Flour. Wholegrain milling represents everything the organic movement promises. Small batch production with personal attention, direct farmer relationships built over years of trust, transparent sourcing from the New South Wales tablelands with named properties you can visit. The founders speak passionately about soil health and sustainable agriculture at conferences and farmers markets. Their website features smiling farmers and golden wheat fields bathed in afternoon sunlight stretching to the horizon. For seniors who have done their research and want the absolute best for their health, whole grain milling seems like the final answer to every concern. But even the most committed producers cannot escape fundamental realities. Whole grain milling flour has been subject to the same bacterial contamination risks affecting every flour producer in Australia. Their whole grain products carry the same mycotoxin concerns as other whole grain brands regardless of organic certification. Their organic practices face the same limitations as every organic certification in the country. Good intentions do not eliminate invisible pathogens. Beautiful photographs do not sterilize wheat. Passionate founders cannot will bacteria out of existence. What makes whole grain milling number 1 on our avoid list is the false confidence their marketing creates. When a brand positions itself as the ultimate safe choice, consumers lower their guard completely. They stop checking for warning signs. They assume problems simply cannot happen with their chosen supplier. This false security is more dangerous than obvious risks because it prevents the vigilance that might catch contamination before consumption causes harm. Testing has shown that boutique organic mills can actually have higher contamination rates than large commercial operations with industrial equipment. Smaller facilities may lack the sophisticated testing equipment and quality quality control protocols that major producers employ with trained laboratory staff. The artisanal approach that feels safer and more personal may actually be more vulnerable to the very problems consumers are trying to avoid by going organic. Heavy metal accumulation in organic wheat from the tablelands has been documented in agricultural research published in Australian journals. The geological conditions that create rich farming soil also concentrate certain naturally occurring metals. Arsenic levels vary significantly between properties and even between paddocks on the same farm. Without rigorous batch testing, contaminated grain can enter the supply chain undetected and end up in your pantry. The beautiful farming photographs hide an invisible reality that only laboratory analysis reveals. For seniors who have invested heavily in their health, who have researched extensively online and in health food stores, who have paid premium prices for premium promises, discovering contamination in their trusted flour is devastating. The betrayal is complete. You did everything right. You made the careful choice based on all available information, and the system still failed you when it mattered most. This is why understanding what actually makes flour safe matters more than brand names or marketing claims or certification logos. Now for the two brands that are actually worth your trust. The first safe recommendation is Laucke Professional Baker's Flour with batch testing certification. What separates genuinely safe flour from marketing promises is verification you can hold in your hands. Laucke's professional line includes batch-specific testing documentation available upon request from their customer service team. Each production run is tested for bacterial contamination, heavy metals, and pesticide residue before release to retailers. The results exist in certified laboratory reports. You can see them. You can verify them independently with the testing laboratory if you choose. This transparency changes everything about how you can approach flour safety. You are not trusting marketing claims anymore. You are trusting laboratory results from accredited facilities. You can verify that the specific bag in your kitchen passed safety standards before it left the mill. The numbers do not lie the way advertising can. The data tells the real story. Laucke's professional products maintain strict moisture control throughout production and storage in climate-controlled facilities. Lower moisture means less opportunity for bacterial growth and mycotoxin formation at any point in the supply chain. The flour arrives at your kitchen in optimal condition for safe baking that protects your health. For seniors concerned about contamination, requesting batch testing certificates provides peace of mind no amount of advertising can deliver. Call their customer service line. Ask for documentation on your specific batch using the code printed on your bag. A company confident in their safety practices will happily provide it within days. Hesitation or deflection tells you everything you need to know about their real priorities. The protein content and baking performance remain consistent because professional products face stricter quality control than consumer lines at every stage. You get reliable results alongside verified safety. Your bread rises predictably, your cakes turn out perfectly, and you know the flour itself is clean enough to feed your grandchildren. Yes, the professional line costs more than standard products on the shelf, but you are paying for accountability and proof, not just promises and packaging designed by marketing teams. For seniors managing health conditions, that certainty is worth every cent. The second safe recommendation is wholemeal flour from certified suppliers with published testing results. The safest approach for Australian seniors is sourcing flour from suppliers who publish their testing protocols and results publicly where anyone can examine them. Several smaller mills now provide this transparency as a competitive advantage that distinguishes them from brands relying on trust alone. They understand that informed consumers want data, not just claims on pretty packaging. Look for suppliers who test every batch for E. coli, salmonella, and total bacterial load before any product leaves their facility. Look for heavy metal testing that measures arsenic, cadmium, and lead against established safety thresholds published by food safety authorities. Look for glyphosate residue testing with results significantly below regulatory limits, not just barely passing the minimum standard. Published testing creates accountability that marketing cannot match. When results are public, suppliers cannot hide problems from consumers or regulators. When processes are transparent, consumers can verify claims independently without relying on trust. This accountability drives genuine safety practices rather than marketing exercises designed to sell product regardless of quality. Some health food stores now stock flour from suppliers who meet these rigorous standards. Ask your local store about their flour sourcing the next time you shop. Request information about testing protocols from store managers. Retailers who take food safety seriously will have answers ready. Those who do not will change the subject or make vague promises. Proper storage at home extends the protection you paid for. Keep flour in airtight containers in cool, dry conditions away from heat sources. Use flour within 3 months of opening regardless of the printed date. Check for any unusual smells or discoloration before every use. Your kitchen practices matter as much as your purchasing decisions when protecting your health. Your kitchen should be safe. Your flour should nourish your family, not threaten your health with invisible contamination. With the right choices and proper vigilance, you can bake with confidence. Flour contamination is real. The brands Australians trust hide dangers that could land seniors in hospital. Safer choices exist when you know what to look for. Subscribe now, and if you are watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.